So my name is Collin, and I've been diving for 4 years.
Nice. Where do you dive at?
DC Divers.
Okay, and that's in Texas.
Yeah,
Nice. So you are how old?
10.
Okay, so you started when you were 6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I started when I was 7 years old. So that's about the same time. That's a good time. You got a
Mm-hmm.
year head start before I
Yeah.
did. Yes. So what I guess right now, what events are your favorite to compete?
I would say 5 meter.
5 meter? Do you
Yeah.
eventually want to be a 10-meter diver? Is that the goal?
Well, I jumped off a 5 meter and I looked down and I'm like,
Yeah.
how do you do front four and a halves and stuff?
I don't know. I feel like I had the same question until I actually tried one, and then after that, it just kind of clicked. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think that's really cool. It'll take time. I think the first
Mm-hmm.
time I actually competed 10-meter for the first time when I was 10 years old. So that was definitely a little early for me, but it ended up working out. Um,
Yeah.
so did you have any questions for me in terms of diving, or feel free
Yes.
to ask whatever you want.
All right. What made you want to start diving?
Um, Really, I started diving because my parents signed me up for diving lessons when I was a kid. They got a flyer in the mail, and I was always at the neighborhood pool jumping off the diving board, doing flips. And,
Mm-hmm.
I started to do backflips and reverse flips at such a young age that my parents signed me up for lessons so that I wouldn't hurt myself at the neighborhood pool. And it ended up being something I really enjoyed, something I was good at. And, the love for diving just developed the more I did it.
Yeah. Do you have a diving pool at your house?
I wish. I don't even have a house. I live in an apartment.
Oh. um, do you like platform or springboard better?
I feel like it just depends on the day.
Mhm.
For me, platform is more of a mental challenge because it is pretty scary. It is really high up and you're flipping and spinning and coming out the water really fast. But then there's the difficulty of springboard being so physically demanding where it takes all of your energy to push the board down and make front 4.5 or reverse 3.5. So I think with where I'm at right now, I enjoy doing 3 meter more. I enjoy training it more. But
Mhm.
there is something in me that loves to compete 10 meter because it just feels more exciting in the moment because you're so high up, you're staring down at the water, and the adrenaline just feels amplified.
Yeah. What is your hardest dive?
I think my hardest dive on 10 meter is back 2.5, 2.5 because I'm 6'1". It's really hard for me to spin all the way around and make it without a lot of adrenaline in the meat. So I would say that for platform, and for springboard, reverse 3.5 is definitely my hardest dive. Not necessarily the hardest to make. I feel like on 3 meter, all my dives are about the same. They're relatively easy for me to make. It's just to actually hit the dive. It's
Yeah.
more difficult because it is a blind entry and it's
Mhm.
not the same kick out spot as 10 meter. 10 meter, I would kind of place my feet at like 10 and a half, 11 on a clock. And on 3 meter, I've got to kick just a little above 9 because I have a little more time. So it's definitely a bigger challenge.
Yeah. Do you know front four and a half on three?
Yeah, I do front 4.5, but that I would consider that my easiest dive. I really like that dive. It's my most consistent. It's one dive that I can rely on in a competition.
That's cool. Do you like individual diving or synchro?
I like them both. I think there's a piece of me that loves synchro because I like diving with someone, and I won my Olympic medal in synchro. So there is
Mhm.
that special bond you form with that person as you just travel the world with them and compete with them. It's cool to do something with just another amazing diver. So I would probably say synchro is more my favorite.
Yeah. What's your favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant? Probably Panda Express of all places. It's fast food. It's not healthy for you. I probably go there like once every other month, but I love it so much.
Have you ever been to Whataburger?
Oh, I love Whataburger. But in Indiana, we don't have those. We just
Yeah.
have
My sister
McDonald's.
looked it up because that's my favorite place.
Yeah, I love whenever I go to like Dallas airport for a layover or I'm in Austin, Texas, I always try to hit up Whataburger because I love it so much.
What do you get there?
Usually just their double cheeseburger, their triple cheeseburger. I just try to get as much of a burger and fry meal as I can in one sitting.
Really, I get the three-piece chicken strips.
I've heard those are good with their, what is it, the honey mustard
And ranch.
sauce? Yeah, the honey ranch. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a burger guy though.
Yeah. I'm not really a burger guy.
Yeah. Just give it time.
Yeah. How many hours a week do you train?
Well, right now during quarantine, I'm spending about an hour to 2 hours exercising every day. It's not really training, but it is weightlifting. So that's looked different this past month. But in a normal week of training, I probably practice anywhere from 3 to 6 hours a day. It really just depends on if I have two practices that day or if I have practice in weights or if I have one practice. It just kind of changes week to week based on how my body's feeling and what goals we're trying to accomplish that week. But I'd say anywhere between 3 and 6 hours is a safe range.
Yeah. Do you have any pets?
Yeah, I actually have two Australian Labradoodle dogs. One of them is 2 years old, and her name is Aspen, and she's black and has one eye. She had an eye fall out when she was just a puppy. And then we have another Australian Labradoodle who's 6 months old, and his name is Forrest, and he's chocolate and white. And they are so fun, so cute, and they don't like to sleep past 6 a.m. So I'm up really early every morning.
Yeah. They're like your alarm.
They are. They keep me up. They like to go to bed late and wake up early. And they sleep throughout the day, which I really can't do, but it's worth it for how
Yeah.
cute they
Once
are.
I open my eyes, whenever I wake up, I can't go back to bed.
Same. I'm the same way. My wife can fall asleep. She'll wake up, take the dogs out, and fall back asleep. If I wake up and take the dogs out, I'm up for the day.
Yeah. What is your workout routine?
My workout routine in like a normal week of training or right now in quarantine?
Normal week of training.
Yeah, so I'd say my normal training schedule is on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I have two practices, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. And the morning will be mostly dryland focused, where I'm doing a lot of dry board skills. I'm doing a lot of mat flips and doing a lot of core exercises. And then we'll spend a little bit of the time doing basics and come out drills in the water in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the afternoon, that's when we'll hit our optionals heavy. That's when we'll come in and do on 3 meter is what I'm mainly training right now. We'll do anywhere from 3 to 5 of each of maybe half or our entire list in the afternoon. And we'll do that every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then Tuesday, Thursdays, I have a weight workout with my team in the morning. So we all go into weights and just have our 1 hour scheduled program that we do. And then we'll go right to the pool about an hour later for our workout, which will be, about 50-50 dry land and water. But this dry land might be a little easier so that we can do our harder dives again in the water. And Tuesday, Thursdays is really when I like to do my front 4.5s, my reverse 3.5s, and my reverse 3.5 twisters. Just because I typically feel really good after weights. Usually, if I go to practice right after weights, I feel strong and I feel ready to go. If I have a long break in between, I'll feel sluggish for that afternoon workout.
Yeah.
So once I start working out, I like to keep going because when I stop, I crash pretty hard.
Yeah. What's your greatest diving memory?
I think my greatest diving memory would be winning an Olympic silver medal. It was a cool moment, and I got to relive the experience this past week when they were playing the videos on NBC and they were showing up on Twitter and Instagram. Just being able to watch that moment of me doing the best back 2.5 I've ever done in my life. I have only done one back 2.5 that well, and it was in that Olympic final. So I'm very thankful that I decided to make the dive at the right time. But going into the last dive, I didn't know where David and I were in the standings. I didn't know if we were in medal contention. I knew we were diving really well, but I assumed everyone else was diving well. So in my mind, I just wanted to put a good last dive in and see where we landed. And when I came out and saw the scores and I knew there were only two more teams that had to go, I saw that we were in first place. And so in that moment where I got all emotional, I thought we had won bronze because I knew there were only two teams left and we couldn't be bumped down into fourth place. So I was excited to just win a medal. And then when I saw Great Britain couldn't even catch us and then we had secured silver, I was even more ecstatic because I had a dream of going to the Olympics, and getting an Olympic medal was just icing on the cake. I knew it could happen, but I wasn't really focused on it or expecting it. So when it did happen, it was really cool.
Yeah. So back in college, whenever you did the 3.5, but you changed it to 4.5, what was going through your mind?
College is fun because you get to change your dives on the board. And I knew that I could not win the NCAAs with a front 3.5 pike with the DD I had on that dive and the score I needed. I needed just over 91 points to secure a gold medal or even have a shot at winning. And the front 3.5 pike couldn't get me enough points to get there. So I made the decision right when I got on the board to throw a front 4.5. I did one in the warm up because I had in the back of my mind, I might need a front 4.5 to win. And if I do, I want to be prepared. And so I had done this before at the Big Ten championships where I did change the front 3.5 on the board to a front 4.5 and got straight 10s. So I knew I could do it and do it well. And luckily I got 92 points on it and won the gold medal at that meet. But that's the exciting thing about college diving is you get to have fun like that and switch your list around on the board, look at what others have and look at what you need and adjust as needed.
So whenever you're on that board, were you like, there's a lot of pressure on me because then everyone would be regretting my decision to change my dive?
Yeah, but at the same time, I had already won an NCAA title on 1 meter, 3 meter, and platform in my college career. And so I really didn't feel like I had anything left to lose. And so I, for myself, wanted to put it all out there because even if the front 4.5 wasn't great, I was still going to get a medal, either bronze or silver. And so I just told myself, you know what, why not go for gold? Because this could either just be like a missed opportunity where I didn't try to go for gold, or I could switch this dive, see what happens. And if it didn't go great, that's okay because I at least gave it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad I changed it because it did work out really well.
Yeah. What challenges have you overcome? Like that really hard one?
I think probably one of the hardest ones is I've had 2 foot surgeries over the past year and a half, 2 years now. And it was really difficult for me to have a foot surgery, be out for 4 months, and then need a second foot surgery because I still couldn't walk. And then that put me out another few months. It was supposed to put me out 6 months, but I ended up being able to compete just 3 months after it. I could barely walk, but I was able to do platform and do a lot of flat-footed dives and a handstand to where I was diving well enough to compete at nationals. And doing that allowed me to qualify for the Pan Am Games and the World Championships. But it was a battle walking into rehab every day on crutches for, essentially 6 to 8 months of my life, not being able to walk for a really long time, in the back of my mind thinking, okay, how am I going to be able to dive if I can't even walk? But just trusting the process, taking it day by day, following very diligently what my trainers and my doctors told me to do. But also trying to push myself and see, okay, I know I can't walk yet, but what can I do? And start to work on those things. It was really difficult. It was really hard in the pool and out of the pool, but I'm really glad I was able to come out on the other side of that a stronger person.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone else in your family dive?
No. So my brother and I started diving at the same time when we were 7 and 8 years old. He was a lot better than me when we were young, but he quit because he wanted to play football and lacrosse. And he actually played football at Purdue, which is a school I dove for. But he was good back in the day, and then he stopped. And my sister dove a little in high school, but didn't do too much after that. So I was really the only full-on diver in my family.
Yeah. What position did your brother play?
So he was on the special teams at Purdue, but he was also a defensive back. But towards the end of his college career, when they went to the bowl game and won, he was on the kick return, the kickoff, and the punt block squad. So he actually, in a game against Wisconsin, his teammate blocked a punt and he picked it up and ran it back. Didn't get a touchdown because he tore his hamstring running to the end zone, but it was still like a exciting moment where he got to pick up the ball and run. And it was.
Did you watch the game?
I was watching it on TV. Yeah.
That's cool. You're like, oh, that's my brother running.
Yeah, I was freaking out. And then when they were playing in the bowl game, they were playing in San Francisco and I was in Hawaii at the time. We were watching on a TV in Hawaii and it was like 11 p.m. because of the time change. And I was bound and determined to be awake and be at this place with the TV so I could watch and just see my brother running across the screen. It was an exciting moment.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your favorite dive?
I think my favorite dive on springboard is the front 4.5. I used to hate that dive back in 2015. I took a nasty hit off 10 meter on a front 4.5 and it really freaked me out for a long time. But over the past 2 or 3 years, I've really come to love that dive, especially on 3 meter. It just feels really nice when you get a good ride on the board and you just get a good pike out and hit it. There's no other dive that makes me feel that way.
So whenever you hit the water, what does it feel like?
On a
Like,
front 4.5,
yeah.
there's a bit of relief because, front 4.5 is a long dive. It's a lot of flipping. So you hit the water and you're like, wow, I can relax for a second. But it is so fast going to the water. You flip, and because I'm taller, it takes me a little longer to spin around. So I have a really fast pike out to the water. Everything just feels so fast and so aggressive, and the entry is the same. It's a fast, aggressive pike out and a fast punch to the water with my hands. So it feels like I'm just blowing off steam on that dive because I have to use all my energy and force to really punch through the water.
So your favorite dive on 10 meters is also front 4.5?
No way. I I don't love front 4.5 on 10 meter. Just that extra height and that smack I took in 2015. I don't ever think about it now, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite dive. I really love reverse 3.5 on 10 meter. That's one dive I really felt like I could rely on. It was really consistent for me. It just felt good, being able to see those spots super clearly and have it be very similar every pool you go to, because your spots are going to change at every pool. But reverse 3.5, I feel like I saw the exact same thing everywhere I went.
Yeah. So your least favorite dive on 3 meter is reverse 3.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a switch.
It's crazy how it flip-flops. 10 meter, I don't like front 4.5. 3 meter, I love front 4.5. And same for reverse 3.5 on both.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. So how do you know whenever you have a good entry?
You can ask any diver that. You just kind of know. You hit through the water and it feels like, I don't know, just like a knife going through the water, and everything just feels so fast and aggressive, and it goes from a hard like rip feeling to just peace under the water. And when you go through that, you pretty much know you've ripped the dive.
Yeah. But what I feel like I feel like I like teleport through the water.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool because your hands make like a big hole through the water and your body just falls through it really quick. So it does kind of feel like teleporting from air to water.
Yeah. So you live in Indiana?
Yeah, I live in West Lafayette, Indiana.
Okay. Do you have, is your sinker partner like one of your really good friends, like you're really close together?
Yeah, especially David and I have known each other for so long, and we've been training together at Purdue for the past almost 8 years. And before that, we trained in Indianapolis together when I was 10 years old, and he was 17 at the time. And that was right before he went to the 2008 Olympics. And he actually drove me to practice every day when I was 10. So it was cool to see how that came full circle. And over the past 14 years, we've just kind of been around each other, diving together.
How do you feel about the Olympics being postponed?
I mean, I was definitely sad when the Olympics got postponed because you train so long to peak at a certain time. And for me, I was training to peak this July and put my best performance on this summer. And now it's been pushed back a year. I have to reset my training regimen while at the same time figure out how do I go about making another year of training work. And there's just a lot of variables you really don't think of right when all this happens. But I am thankful, one, that it wasn't canceled, and two, it being pushed back another year gives me another year to keep training, to get better, and to let my foot keep healing. Because that was a big issue, is I've been diving on my healed foot for less than a year right now. And now that I'll have another year of training, that's just another year for my foot to continue to heal and my legs to get stronger, and me to put myself in a better situation health-wise when the Olympics do roll around next year.
Yeah. Was college really expensive for you, or did you get like
So I went to school on scholarship, thankfully. Yeah. So that was definitely a big blessing for me. And I lived in Indiana and went to a school in Indiana. So that definitely makes it even cheaper.
Do you have any advice for me whenever I keep diving?
I would definitely say each week try to find something you love about the sport and really focus on that. And while you're still young, you're 10 years old, make sure you don't skip out on the basics. Things like stretching are so vital right now because you're at an age where you have the ability to develop flexibility that is going to carry through the rest of your career, and that's going to prevent a lot of injuries. So if you make sure you focus on stretching your ankles, you're going to avoid ankle injuries in the future, and your toe point's going to be great throughout your whole career. Same with pike stretches and shoulder stretches. All that stuff seems boring and annoying to do right now. I hated doing it when I was younger, but I'm so thankful that my coach made me do that stuff when I was your age, because that set me up for avoiding injury while I'm 23. And it's just made diving a lot easier. It's made me stay healthy. So really focus on those basics, really focus on stretching, but also be sure to do something fun at training every day if you can. And if you run out of time, make sure it happens every week, where, you know, some days at practice, me and the team, we won't even warm up. We'll just go up on the boards and throw a really hard dive just for fun. We really like to keep the fun in the sport. And if you can do that, you're going to love the sport all the way through your college years and beyond.
How'd you hurt your foot?
So my foot getting hurt was an overuse injury. It was a stress fracture in one of the bones of my foot. And so it wasn't any one incident that caused it to break. It was just over time, the forces of diving and me having weaker bones at the time just caused that bone to break. And, you know, that stuff you can't predict, and that stuff can happen, but it is encouraging to know that you can get through that and be stronger after it.
Mm-hmm. I think that's all I have right now.
Yeah.